I'm excited for people to see my journey. Florian and his visa got approved, so
Exactly as I am. No filters on my life, just me, my heart, my story in real time.
Houston, Texas. Years before reality TV, years before Florian Sukaj, years before the K1 visa drama, the Shanti Zora scandal, the Sandbox therapy meltdown, the Mount Sinai kidney surgery. A young Connecticut woman named Stacey Silva was watching a soccer game on a hot Texas afternoon, with no idea that her life was about to change forever. On the field, in the spotlight, was a Serbian man, athletic grace, the kind of confidence only professional athletes carry. His name was Goran Vasic. He was a pro soccer player. He was strong. He was handsome. He was foreign. And the moment Stacey Silva laid eyes on his fans, she said it later in interviews, it was love at first sight. Just like that. A chapter began. A chapter most fans of 90 Day Fiancé have never properly heard. A chapter the franchise has spent years quietly stepping around. Welcome back to the Tell-All Tapes, your home for the deepest 90 Day Fiancé documentaries on YouTube. Tonight, we are doing something almost nobody has done before. We are going behind Stacey Silva, past Florian, past Albania, all the way back to her first marriage, her first foreign love, her first heartbreak, and the two sons she has fiercely protected from the cameras for nearly the entire run of her career. Goran Vasic, Mateo Vasic, Parker Vasic. Three names that fans have heard whispered but never seen? Explored. Tonight we are putting them in the spotlight. Stay with me. Because the moment Stacey's older son, Mateo, finally spoke into a TLC camera in 2023, what he said about his mother's dating history will break your heart. Let's start with Goran. Goran Vasic was born and raised in Yugoslavia, specifically in what is now considered Serbia. He grew up playing soccer, and over there, fans, that is not a casual hobby. It is a religion. It is a way out. It is the dream of every boy who can dribble a ball. And Goran was good. Good enough to become a professional soccer player. Good enough that his career took him from Yugoslavia all the way to the United States. By the time he met Stacy in Houston, Texas, he was an established athlete with a real professional resume behind him. Stacy, in interviews and in the unreleased trailer for what was once supposed to be the Silva twins' very first TV show called The Twin Life, described their meeting as love at first sight. She watched him on the field. Something clicked. They started dating. And eventually, fans, they got married. The marriage timeline has never been fully detailed publicly. We don't know exactly when they married, or exactly when they divorced. What we do know is this. Their marriage produced two beautiful sons. They eventually divorced. And that divorce happened in roughly the same window as Darcey's divorce from Frank Bollock. The twins, in true Silva twin fashion, went through their first major life crisis together. They both lost their first marriages. They both became single moms. They both had to start over in their late 30s. The two sons that Stacey and Goran share are named Mateo Vasic and Parker Vasic. Mateo, the older one, was born in 2003. He turned 21 in August of 2024, according to Stacey's own social media posts about him. Parker, the younger one, was born a couple years later. The boys grew up primarily in Connecticut after the divorce. They lived between their parents, and both, in their own ways, became outstanding young men. Mateo, the older brother, has been described by his mother as an amazing writer and aspiring filmmaker. In a sweet Facebook post from 2019, Stacy wrote about him, quote, "My firstborn son, you are so bright and talented. I can't wait for the world to see your talents. You are an amazing writer, and I know you will be a success for the whole world to see. Keep your eye on the prize, my angel. Mommy loves you infinitely." That, fans, is the love language of a mother who knows her son is more than reality TV will ever properly show. Mateo attended Xavier High School in Middletown, Connecticut. He was a member of the school's wrestling team. He graduated in 2021, and then went on with his quiet, ambitious, creative life. Parker, the younger son, took after his father. He plays soccer. He is a midfielder at his school. He also plays at the Oakwood Soccer Club in Glastonbury, Connecticut, holding the same position his father once mastered. Parker, by all available reporting, is an aspiring professional soccer player himself, walking, in many ways, in his father's footsteps. Now, here is what most fans never realized about Stacey Silva. While Darcey, her twin sister, let her daughters Aniko and Aspen become reality TV mini-stars, Stacey chose the opposite path. For almost the entire run of Darcey and Stacy, from 2020 through 2023, Stacy kept her sons completely off camera, off Instagram, off TLC, off the franchise. She gave interviews calling them, quote, my everything, my world, my number one. She talked about how they had met Florian. She acknowledged they were part of her life, but the cameras, fans, never got them. The producers begged, the fans wondered, the tabloids speculated. And Stacy, in a way that is honestly admirable for a reality TV star, held the line. She protected her boys, and the boys had a father who was equally committed to keeping them out of the spotlight. Goran Vasic, after his pro soccer career, settled in Middletown, Connecticut, and founded the Goran Vasic Soccer Academy, abbreviated GVSA, in 2006. He became a USSF. That's United States Soccer Federation, a licensed coach in 2006. He has been the director of coaching at Middletown Youth Soccer. He has been the Connecticut ODP, that's Olympic Development Program, boys head coach since 2014. He runs the GVSA summer soccer program every single year. In other words, Goran Vasic is not a TV husband. He is a respected, quiet, hard-working soccer coach in the same town where his sons go to school. He has built a real, lasting, second career around developing young soccer players, and he has done it without ever once trying to ride his ex-wife's TLC fame. That is integrity. That is uncommon. That is something the franchise should respect more than it does. Goran has since remarried. According to his Facebook page, he is now married to a woman named Christine Zglobicki and is rebuilding his own family life, separately from the Silva twin circus. Now, let's get to the moment that fans waited 4 full seasons of Darcey and Stacy to see. The moment Stacy's older son, Mateo Vasic, finally appeared on the show. It was season 4. The series was wrapping up. The wedding storyline was building towards Stacy and Florian's big November 2022 ceremony. The producers got their wish. Stacy allowed Mateo to make his television debut in season 4, episode 13, which aired on April 10, 2023, titled Lies and Furious Brides. Mateo appeared in the family corn maze episode and at his mother's wedding. He served as one of Florian's groomsmen. He stood next to his stepdad. He smiled for the cameras. And then, fans in a confessional that nobody saw coming, Mateo spoke directly into the lens about his mother's dating history, and his words were devastating. Mateo told the cameras that he believed his mom's new husband, Florian, had excellent intentions. That was kind. That was supportive. That was the stuff of a good son giving his stepfather a fair chance. But then, in the same confessional, Mateo dropped a bombshell. He said his mom had dated many men before Florian, and they had all used her for money. Read that again, fans. They had all used her for money. Said into the camera. By her own son. On national television. After 2 decades of watching his mother get hurt by men who saw a fortune more clearly than they ever saw her face. Mateo Vasic, in one sentence, gave fans the most devastating insight into Stacey Silva's pre-Florian dating life that has ever been broadcast. And he did it not to humiliate his mother. He did it, fans, to defend Florian. He was saying, in his own way, whatever else is true about my stepfather, he is better than the parade of men who came before him. That is a son's love wrapped in a tabloid bombshell. Now, fans, let's just sit with what Mateo's statement implies. Stacey Silva, after divorcing Goran Vasic, dated many men. Not one. Not two. Many. Stacy was a single mom in her late 30s and early 40s, living in Connecticut and Miami, raising 2 boys, working on building House of 11 with her sister, and trying to find a partner who could love her honestly. And the men, by her own son's testimony, were not honest. They were users. They were opportunists. They were guys who saw Stacey Silva and saw a Connecticut businesswoman with assets, a famous twin, a fashion line, a brand, a steady income, and apparently treated all of that as a target, rather than as a person. We don't have names for those men, fans. Stacy has never publicly identified them. They are ghosts in her dating history. But Mateo, watching from the inside of the family, watched them come and watched them go. He saw what they took. He saw what they didn't give. He saw the toll they took on his mother. And by the time Florian arrived, Mateo had already learned to read men like a contract lawyer. He had to. He had been watching his mom get hurt for too many years. This context, fans, completely reframes Stacey Silva's relationship with Florian Sucaj, because if you have lived through, by your own son's account, a parade of men who used you for money, what do you do when a young, beautiful Albanian man slides into your DMs at age 41 and tells you he loves you? What do you do when he proposes within 10 days? What do you do when, 6 months in, your son is watching from the sidelines, waiting to see if this one is going to be different? You hold on. You hope. You forgive. You forgive the Shanti scandal because the men before Florian were worse. You forgive the secret late-night outings because the men before Florian took more. You stay through the financial fights because at least Florian is trying, in his own clumsy way, to build a furniture craft business. You stay because you have already lost 2 decades to men who only wanted your wallet. And the idea of starting over again at 50 feels almost unbearable. Stacey Silva, fans, has been carrying a romantic trauma that the franchise never fully explored. The franchise gave us the Shanti scandal. The franchise gave us kidney surgery. The franchise gave us sandbox therapy. But the franchise has never sat Stacey down and asked her about the men before Florian. The men her son said used her for money. The men whose names we may never know. Those men, fans, are the missing chapter of the Silva twin story. And until you understand them, you cannot fully understand why Stacey has stayed with Florian for as long as she has. Now, let's talk about Parker. The younger Vasic son. Parker, by all accounts, has been even more private than his older brother. Parker has not appeared on Darcey and Stacey. Parker has not done cameo videos. Parker has not given interviews. Parker is, by every indication, focused on his soccer career, just like his father. He plays for his school's team. He plays for Oakwood. He works on his game. He keeps his head down. His social media presence, if it exists, is minimal. In some ways, fans, Parker is doing the most rebellious thing a child of a 90 Day Fiancé star can do. He is choosing, deliberately, to live an entirely normal life. He is going to soccer practice. He is doing his homework. He is taking the field for his high school team. He is becoming a regular Connecticut teenager who happens to have a famous mom and a coach father. And in that normalcy, fans are a kind of quiet protest. Parker Vasic, like his brother Mateo, has decided that fame is not for him. And Stacy, to her credit, has respected that decision. She has not pushed her sons into the spotlight. She has not exploited them for storylines. She has not used their privacy as a bargaining chip. She has, instead, fiercely protected the boundary they themselves established. That, fans, is good parenting. The kind that gets too little credit in the reality TV world. Now, where does this leave us in 2026? Goran Vasic continues to run his soccer academy in Middletown, Connecticut. He continues to coach. He continues to raise his sons alongside his new wife, Christine, and his ex-wife, Stacy. With the kind of co-parenting harmony that almost nobody in the 90 Day Fiancé universe has managed to achieve. Stacy, while navigating her own marriage problems with Florian, has continued to support Mateo's filmmaking and writing ambitions. And Parker's soccer career. The Vasic boys are growing into young men. They are quietly building their own futures. They are surrounded by a family that, despite all its drama, has kept them protected. And that, fans, is the part of the Silva story that nobody talks about enough. Behind the drama, behind the cameras, behind the plastic surgery and the cheating scandals and the late-night phone calls and the sandbox therapy, there has been, all this time, a quiet co-parenting partnership between Stacey Silva and Goran Vasic, a partnership that prioritized the boys above everything else, that kept them off camera, that kept them safe, that lets them grow up as kids, not as content. In a franchise full of broken families, the Silva-Vasic family is a quiet miracle, and both Goran and Stacy deserve credit for that. So tell me, fans, in the comments below, honestly, was Goran Vasic the great love of Stacey Silva's life? Bigger than Florian, bigger than any man who came after? Or was he just a chapter she had to live to learn what she actually needed? Did Mateo Vasic speak the unvarnished truth when he said men had used his mother for money? Or do you think he was being too harsh? Was Stacy right to keep Mateo and Parker off reality TV for as long as she did? Or do you wish you had gotten more of them on screen? And the hardest question, fans, if you were Goran Vasic sitting at home in Connecticut watching your ex-wife marry an Albanian model on TLC in front of millions of viewers, with your sons standing in the wedding party as groomsmen, what would you have done? Would you have stayed dignified the way Goran did? Or would you have gone public? Tell me where you stand. And if you have ever co-parented with Grace, despite a divorce drop, a soccer ball emoji in the comments below. Let's honor the Goran Vasics of the world, the dads who chose dignity over drama. If this hits you somewhere honest, smash that like button. Subscribe to the Tell-All Tapes for new 90 Day Fiancé documentaries every single week. Share this with the friend who has always asked you who Stacy's first husband was. This was the Tell-All Tapes, and we will see you in the next one.